and good afternoon. It's Miss Cassidy. Welcome back to Miss Cassidy Creates. So excited to have you here with me today. Let me go ahead and get all set up on my computer so I can see all of your wonderful questions and comments. Do a little shifting there as well. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're doing something fun or learning something new. I hope you're staying cool wherever you are, because it is toasty in my neck of the woods. It is very warm, which is why I'm so excited for our delicious icy cold treats we're going to be making today. We are going to be making our own version of fruity ice cream, which I cannot wait because it's hot. It's been hot since early this morning, and apparently it's going to be hot for the foreseeable future because it's July, so it's summertime. All right, we've got our video up. Not only is July summertime, July is also National Ice Cream Month for those of us here in the U.S. Hi there, the Guiding Light Kids. Are we hyper today? Yeah, we amped up. Well, luckily what we're making today won't give you any extra sugar to hype you up. This will just be a very nice, reasonable, very tasty amount of sugar because we're going to be using fruit. July is National Ice Cream Month, and July 1st, today, is National Creative Ice Cream Flavors Day. So that's about celebrating all these cool different flavors. I mean, sure, we all like our vanillas and our chocolates and our strawberries, but have you ever had a super cool flavor of ice cream before? Or maybe even not that outlandish. It doesn't have to be like totally crazy and out of this world creative, but like one of my favorites is I love cinnamon cream ice cream because I love cinnamon. What kind of creative ice cream flavors do you like to have? Do you like to have fruity things? Have you ever, I had spicy ice cream once. It was a spicy mango ice cream and it was delicious. I think you can make pretty much anything delicious if you combine the right flavors, right? So that's going to be a lot of what we're talking about today. We're going to be making our own fruit-based ice cream, and the only things you absolutely need to make this are 3 cups of frozen fruit. You got to make sure you freeze it ahead of time, and either a Cuisinart or a blender. And then you need a little bit of a milk or a non-dairy milk of some kind, or even yogurt, but that's really it. Fruit, a little bit of a liquid, and a Cuisinart or blender. But where we can get creative is by adding in all sorts of delicious things and making different flavor combinations. So we're gonna get creative, and I encourage you to get creative at home. While we talk about the ancient origins of ice cream, maybe you can kind of scavenge around your kitchen and see if there's anything creative or interesting for you to put in your ice cream. You got ice cream cones from Sonic? That is also a great choice. Ooh. There's not a Sonic very close to me, but I love Sonic, so I'm very jealous of you Guiding Light Kids. Ooh, I would love some. Hello, Jacob in Denver. Thanks for joining us, friends. So, we're going to talk about the ancient origins of ice cream. We've made ice cream here before on Miss Cassidy Creates. We made your normal, creamy ice cream that we put in a Ziploc bag, and we shook it all up, and we sang some Frozen songs, and we talked all about the history of ice cream in the United States. But did you know that ice cream has been around forever? Oh my gosh, since so much longer than the United States. People all over in ancient times were using it. In ancient Egypt, they found an ice cream cup. An ice cream cup found in an Egyptian temple, or tomb, excuse me, from the 2nd dynasty in 2700 BCE. So all the way back, like when we were talking about our pyramids, and the pharaohs who were buried there, they found an ice cream cup in an ancient tomb, where on one side there's a little cup for ice or snow, because obviously they didn't have a refrigerator to break out any ice cubes, and the other half for cooked fruit. So fruit and ice cream have had a long history together, ever since the ancient Egyptians. Emperor Nero in Rome was also well known for loving his ice cream. And even in the ancient city of Pompeii. Pompeii was an ancient Roman city that got covered by a volcano eruption because it lived right next to a massive volcano called Vesuvius. And when the volcano exploded, it covered the whole city in a way that we can see a lot of it still today. It was preserved by all of the volcanic ash. But before the volcano erupted, they used to go to the top of the volcano and harvest the ice from up there. And there was some proof in the city that there was even an ice cream shop in Pompeii, which is pretty cool. That's a long time ago. Ancient China used to make a fancy drink made out of milk, and that could be goat milk, cow milk, or buffalo milk, because all sorts of animals make milk. The milk we buy at the store tends to be cow milk, but you can get goat milk, you can get sheep's milk. And they would cook it with flour and camphor, and then they would put it in an iron container and bury it deep under the snow. Which is funny because the ice cream we know and love today, it's weird to think about cooking ice cream, right? Why would you make it hotter when you just have to make it cold eventually? But a lot of the ice cream you enjoy today starts that same way. We start by cooking it up with some eggs and some sugar and some flour because that helps to give it its creaminess. And then it'll get cooled down. And they started doing that all the way back in China. And then in the Middle East, Arabs would prepare cold drinks with cherries and pomegranates and other delicious frozen fruit. More frozen fruit coming at you. In fact, the word sorbet, which is what we used to talk about, kind of lighter, fruitier ice cream, comes from the Turkish word sherbet, meaning cool drink, and the Arab word sharab, which means to drink. So all over the place, we've seen all different kinds of ice cream. In South America, over on our side of the globe, for those of us here in the U.S. Mr. Roger, you like frozen yogurt? I mean, I like all frozen treats. I think you can't go wrong. You just gotta find the flavor that works for you. In Central and South America, the ancient Incas used to climb all the way up to the top of their volcanoes, just like in Pompeii, and they would bring down ice blocks that they wrapped in straw and leaves so that it would stay insulated, so they could try to keep it cold and keep it from melting. They would bring it all the way back down, and then they would combine the ice, the fruit juice, and sometimes milk, and mix it all together till it became frozen. This is called helados de paila, which is something you can still get today. Paila refers to the kind of bowl that it is made in, and helados is the Spanish word for ice cream. And if any of you speak Spanish out there, Miss Cassidy did her best with that pronunciation. I'm not the greatest, but I'm pretty sure helados de paila is the correct way of saying it. You can still get it in Ecuador today, in fact. But the ice cream that we really know and love comes a lot out of Italy. When Marco Polo came back from Asia and saw how China was making their ice cream with the milk and the cooking of it, he brought over a lot of those ideas to Italy, and Italy went crazy, which is why we get so much of gelato and really tasty ice cream coming from Italy and the Italians. In fact, the first ice cream shop in Paris was actually started by a Sicilian man. There you go, pretty cool. All right, friends, so let's get started making our ice cream. First, I'm gonna grab my apron, because as always, we might get a little messy, but that's okay as long as we clean up. Oh, my apron matches my shirt very nicely today. I didn't mean to do that. Hello, Amy and Alex, hello. Roger, you had some when you went to Mexico. That's so cool. That's also a really fun part about traveling, friends, is to taste the different versions of something that you know and love. Because ice cream here in the U.S. is going to taste a little different than ice cream down in Mexico. And ice cream in Mexico is going to taste different than in Italy, because we all make it different ways. It's a cool way to explore. All right, so we got our apron on. What do we got to do next? We got to wash our hands. Let's go ahead and get some soap. Get a little water, turn it off so we don't waste the water, and we're going to sing our hand washing song, which I know at this point we all might be over the song, but it's important. Ready? Here we go. Wash your hands, do-do-do-do-do, top and bottom, do-do-do-do-do, wash your hands, do-do-do-do-do, top and bottom. Get those fingers, do-do-do-do-do, in betweeners, do-do-do-do-do, get those fingers, do-do-do-do-do, in betweeners. Scratch your palms, do-do-do-do-do, get your nails, do-do-do-do-do, scratch your palms, do-do-do-do-do, get your nails. Rinse them off, do-do-do-do-do, rinse them off, do-do-do-do-do, rinse them off, do-do-do-do-do, rinse them off. Dry them well, do-do-do-do-do, dry them well, do-do-do-do-do, dry them well, do-do-do-do-do, dry You got nice clean hands, ready to go for making our ice cream. All right, so you need to have frozen your fruit before we get started, and I did my best to put out a bunch of reminders so that if you were gonna watch us live and make it along with me, you already put yours in the freezer. If you haven't done that yet, no sweat. You can make this as soon as your fruit is frozen. Not a problem, you can hang out, you can use that big smart brain of yours to brainstorm some creative flavors maybe you can make. So I've got my Cuisinart here. You're gonna use a Cuisinart or a blender, and I'm gonna grab my frozen fruit right out of the freezer. Here we go. Frozen fruit. I have strawberries and blueberries. I have a mixture. So if you don't have 3 cups of one kind of frozen fruit, that's okay. You can do a mixture. Whatever makes your heart happy. Get creative with those flavors. So I'm going to take 3 cups of my frozen fruit, which is a little bit of you're going to have to kind of guess it, because the thing about frozen fruit is sometimes they freeze in big clumps like this. But about 3 cups. Get some more blueberries in there. We're gonna put that right on in our Cuisinart or our blender. And here's what I'm gonna do today, friends. I'm gonna make 2 different kinds as a little bit of a science experiment here. Because I said that you could use milk or some kind of non-dairy milk, or you could also use yogurt to kind of be the thing that gives it a little bit of smoothness and creaminess. So we're gonna try both. With this first one I've got here, I've got my strawberries and my blueberries, and I'm gonna use my coconut milk in this one. And we're gonna see if there's a difference in the consistency between the 2 ice creams. You know what consistency is? Consistency is how thick or thin something is. So if you think about, like, if you make slime, when you can pull it and it's really thick and hard to pull, or when you've added a little too much of the liquid so it gets kind of stringy, that's consistency. So, because milk is naturally, and hey, let's even do that right now. I'm gonna get a little cup, or 2 little bowls, and we're gonna look at the consistency differences right here. So even just watching me pour this, you can see milk, and I'm using coconut milk, is pretty liquidy, right? It's not too thick, it's pretty thin. And then I'm gonna take my yogurt, and yogurt's really interesting because yogurt can have all different kinds of consistencies depending on the kind of yogurt, how long you've had it, all of those things. So let's see, let me move this so you can hopefully get a good view. So, I get a little bit of that liquid, but largely, oh yeah, different, right? That's thick that's coming out of there. So think about that. When we mix this yogurt with the fruit versus using the coconut milk with the fruit, do you think it's gonna make it different? What do you think? I think it might. But for right now, we're gonna put that yogurt aside and I'm gonna use some milk. I'm gonna guess that you wanna use about a 1/4 cup of milk, but this also kind of comes up to you watching your ice cream as you make it. Do you like your ice cream to be really thick and yummy, or do you like it to be a little bit meltier? Are you one of those people that you wait for the ice cream to get a little melty? I do that sometimes. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start with here. I will do a proper measurement rather than just using my eyeballs. This is a little less than a 1/4 cup of coconut milk. So we will see what that does and if we need to add any more. All right, we're gonna put on the lid. And dear friends, I am going to give you some warning before I turn this on. I have no idea how loud this is gonna be on your end. I don't think it's gonna be crazy. But right now, if you wanna just doop, 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 turn down that volume a little bit, it might save your ears. So I'll give you a second or 2 to do that before I turn on my Cuisinart here. And we're gonna blend this up until it is super smooth. We're gonna pause and we'll see if we need to add more milk, but it might be okay just the way it is. All right, ready, set, making noise. 1, 2, 3. I need to push some of mine back down because it looks like my Cuisinart pushed it out to the sides a little bit. But while I'm doing this, and if you're doing it along with me, look at the consistency. Does it look like ice cream yet? Mine doesn't. Mine's still pretty crunchy and kind of's got a lot of chunks of strawberries and whatnot in there. So, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna add a little bit more milk. I started with a 1/4 cup. I'm not gonna do a whole nother quarter. I'm gonna do about a half of that, so 1/8 of a cup. We'll pour that in. Put this on. We're gonna make noise again. Ready, set? And it looks like, at least with the way mine is going right now, and that's the thing, is since we're all using different fruits and different ingredients, we might have different results a little bit, but that's okay, because we're gonna just figure it out all together. It looks like I need to add a little bit more milk because my strawberries were in such big chunks, we're having a hard time getting them to break down. So I'm gonna put a whole nother. That means we'll have about 3/4 cup of milk going into this one right now. All right. Ooh, yeah, that's starting to look a lot better. So smooth. Still got one big chunk of strawberry in there that doesn't want to give. And you know what? Oh, we're just going to get rid of that. But everything else, it looks like we're pretty smoothed out in here. Let me see. I'll grab a spoon and come up close so you can see the consistency we've got going on. So here we go. It's not totally falling off the spoon, right? So it's definitely a little bit thicker. Ooh. Now, tasting it, I feel like I want mine a little bit sweeter. It's very yummy, but I like sweet things. So I'm gonna take a little bit of honey. I'm going to pour that on in. Just a quick little dab, because you don't want to do too much, because you can always add more honey. You can't take it out if it gets too sweet. Blend that up. Ready, set? All right. Oh, that is yummy. So I'm going to pull out my big glass bowl here. Put that on over there. And I'm going to go ahead and let's see how thick this is. Let me move this. Look at that. Not very runny, huh? It's totally upside down. Ooh, I just spilled a bunch over the side of the bowl. That's okay. Once I gave it a little bit of force, some of it came out, but overall, that's pretty thick consistency, even though the milk is runnier than the yogurt. Now, part of that is going to be because that fruit was frozen. That's why we say it's so important to freeze the fruit before you get started. Before you get started, because that's going to make a big difference in the thickness. If it was just fruit that you kept out all day and then you put it in there, it's going to be pretty mushy, right? Hello. Ooh, excuse me. Hello, Indiana. Thanks for joining us. I have a lot of family in Indiana. So there's our first one with our blueberry and strawberry. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take some chocolate chips. And I'm just going to drop a handful of those in there, maybe a little bit more, maybe 2 handfuls. And then I'm going to mix it up. And it is already getting more liquid because the longer it's out, the less frozen it's going to get, It's gonna melt like a snowman or like anything else that's cold when it's exposed to heat. So I'm gonna throw it back in the fridge for just a few minutes while we make our second batch. And that way maybe we can compare them. Whoop, that's all right. All right. For our second batch, I've got a very frozen bag of mixed berries right here. So we're gonna do the same thing. So in mixed berries, I've got strawberries, I've got blackberries, I've got blueberries and raspberries, and they're all kind of frozen in these big chunks. So I'm just gonna take 2 big hunks and toss them right in there. And at that point, we only got a little bit. I would say most of the bags that you get are frozen are gonna be about this right amount for what you need to do here. Now we're gonna take that yogurt. And what do you think? Should I use the whole container? Remember how last time we did a little bit at a time before I put it in, or should I just go for it? Should I just dump the whole thing right in? Why don't we compromise? We'll do half. We'll start with half and see what that gets us. But I have a feeling, based off of how much of that milk we had to use last time, that we're gonna end up needing more. What do you think? Do you think we're gonna need more? I think we might. But let's see. Ready? Loud noises. Oh. Hey guys, do you know what Miss Cassidy forgot to do? I forgot to put the blade back in my cuisinart. I do that all the time. What a silly goose. That's all right. Easy enough to fix. I turned it on and nothing moved, and I was like, what? What on earth? But just like that, we've got it fixed. That's all right. See, we all make mistakes sometimes. It's not that bad. All right, now that we've got, the thing that does the blending in there, let's go ahead and try this again. All right. Yeah, oh, it smells really good with the yogurt. It smells that because I'm using coconut yogurt. That smelled yummy when I took the top off, blended in with all that fruit. I'm gonna go ahead and put some more in there because I don't think that little bit was gonna do it for us. It's still pretty icy in there, not so creamy yet. One chunk of berries that just doesn't want to get cut up. Look at this, still a big old hunk. Let's get that down in there. Hopefully it'll break up a little bit. Now let's see, because this big hunk doesn't want to break up, I'm going to use my hands and try to break it apart into smaller pieces, and hopefully that's going to help. This is a really beautiful color. I'm going to bring this over and show you real fast. All of these different, it's turning into a really nice color in there, but as you can see, it's still pretty chunky in there. So we're going to keep blending up just a little bit more. And then what do you think we should do if it's still too chunky? I've used all of the yogurt in my container. Do you think I should just keep blending it till it's nice and smooth? Do you think I should add some milk to it? Do you have another idea? I don't know. Let's see. How are we going? All right. Still one big chunk of blueberries that just won't quit. There we go. Hopefully that'll do it. I think I'm going to add just the tiniest little amount. Tiny little amount. Maybe a little bit more. 2 little splashes of our coconut milk. So I would definitely say, just in looking at this, we're a little bit, I don't know, creamier is the right word. But there's definitely, it feels a bit more like frozen ice than ice cream. It's good though. But definitely still has a little bit of crunch to it from the frozen berries. And I think part of that is when you use the yogurt, you just don't have as much to help it keep going. So if you really want to go for the creamier stuff, I think you probably want to use a milk or a milk substitute. But this is very good. Now let's see. Comparing our two, let me put, I don't have another big glass bowl, but I do have a smaller one. So we won't be able to get all of this one in there, but we'll get a nice chunk. There we go. So, let's look at them, shall we? We learned all about ancient ice cream and we made our own. So let's see. This one's pretty thick. It's sliding around a little bit. This is the one that we use the yogurt with. It's definitely a little icier. It's got a little more texture to it, not quite so smooth. Now, over here. It's very liquidy, right? Because it's also warmed up, even with putting it in the freezer. I'm going to recommend, once you make this, take a couple bites, toss it back in the freezer, and let it sit for a little while, and it's going to turn into a really nice consistency. Much smoother. Much smoother when I use the milk. Woo. Oh no, it's a brain freeze! Ooh! If you get a brain freeze, stick your tongue to the top of your mouth. Oh, you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. And you can add all sorts of delicious add-ins to this. I added chocolate chips to the one. You can put in some nuts. You could crunch up some waffle cones. You can do all sorts of stuff to give it a really nice, fun texture. Get creative with your flavorings. You can add some spices to this. Sage is a really delicious spice to go with a lot of fruits. I like sage and blueberry a lot. So you can put some sage in there. You could play with basil. Maybe see if you can get creative. Make a couple different flavors, or even if you don't want to make a whole batch of one flavor, make your batch of your whatever your main base is and take it into little bowls and add a little bit into each one. You can have a family taste test with all of your super creative kinds of ice cream. And if they're not all delicious, hey, that's okay. Do you think every version of ice cream that was made all throughout time was delicious? No, and ice cream is by definition pretty delicious. But somewhere along the way, somebody must have put it together and went, that one's not good. So that's okay, because what you might not like, someone else might. Don't yuck my yum, right? I like spicy mango ice cream. Maybe that's not your thing, and that's okay. All right, friends. Well, that about does it for us today. I hope you had a good time making ice cream with me. I can't wait to sit out on my back porch as soon as we're done here, and I'm going to eat a nice big bowl of my frozen ice cream. This is also a really wonderful recipe if anyone that you love and you like to share ice cream with is lactose intolerant, because you can make it completely dairy-free and make it so that they can enjoy it just as much as you do. If you made ice cream along with us, as always, I'd love to see that stuff. You can tag us at Miss Cassidy Creates or just send it over to me personally. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. we are going to be doing a dance class with Miss Cass. So all you need for that is your bodies and a little bit of space to move. We're also going to have a fun little announcement at some point tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. We've got some cool stuff in the works. We've got some changes coming our way, but all for the better and all for the good. If you haven't already, we have a survey on our page right now that lets me know what your favorite things to do. Out of all of our activities, do you like dancing? Do you like cooking? Do you like learning about history? What are your favorite things? Let me know, because as we move forward, I want to make sure that whatever I'm bringing to you folks is the stuff that you love doing, because I love doing whatever I do as long as I get to do it with you. So I like to know what you love doing. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow, and you keep smiling. You kind of keep, Miss Cassidy forgot how to talk for a second. You keep on being yourself, and you keep on smiling, okay? Bye. Oh, someone. Oh, hello, Dylan. Hi, friends. You're first timers. I'm so sorry. We're just heading out for the day. But in just a couple minutes, you can start all the way over at the beginning and you can follow along. If you comment, I'll respond back. And tomorrow we'll be live at 11 a.m. for a dance class. As always, you can find any of our videos anytime on the video page. So whether you want to make this ice cream or ice cream in a Ziploc bag, if you want to do our ancient Egypt building activity, you can always find all of that stuff on our video page anytime. One last sign off, ready? Since I messed it up the first time. Third time's the charm. You keep on being yourself. You keep on smiling. Bye, friends. Bye. Goodbye. Enjoy your ice cream.